Hello and welcome to the very last daily writing practice video that I will be doing, at least for this year. Um, it's been awesome doing these. I have loved going over all of your writing practices and seeing that you guys all have it down. So that means y'all are killing it. Y'all are doing a great job. Um, Again, keep it up. Y'all are gonna do great in college. We are have one more of these left after mine, which is Kento's. And after that, I'll be seeing some of you about your last assignment for this class. And then after that, I will be seeing hopefully all of you in the first day of school or first within the first week of school in person. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and let's get started on my last one. Um, I will say I got to pick the topic for this one, and I really hope y'all find this one useful, because I think it's something that a lot of people struggle with. So today's topic is how to expand ideas, aka how to make your paper longer. A lot of people, they get an assignment that says, write a six-page paper on random subject. And then oh no, they're done writing and they only have 4 pages. You have 2 pages left. What do you do? A lot of people end up just word vomiting. Um, this is not what you're supposed to do. So, word vomiting is basically just saying a bunch of random words that you are either repeating or you're finding on Google, like what is a longer way to say this word. Um, it's just not good. Like, every professor will be able to tell if you are just word vomiting out random stuff because you're just trying to reach a page limit. It just doesn't sound good, and it just sounds very bad. So ways to effectively expand ideas in order to increase word count, we have 5 of them, or I have 5 of them. There's probably definitely way more, but these 5 are my personal go-tos. Number one is just explain everything. What does this mean? So, when you are writing a paper, you are typically writing it to your professor or to your peer. So, naturally, your brain is thinking, oh, they know what I'm writing about. So, if you drop, I don't know, a quote or drop just like an experiment or a big word that's in the book, you might just be thinking, oh, they know what that means. Um, Explain it. Explain the quote, explain the word, explain whatever you are dropping. Because even though your professor most likely, I hope, should know what you are talking about, you are writing this paper to someone who does not know anything about what you are writing about. Think of it like you're writing this to a complete stranger and you need to just spoon feed everything. That's how I do it. Um, I have had one occasion where a professor's been like, don't write it like that because I want specifics. He didn't want something just explained every little detail. But a majority of professors will love it when you explain everything. And again, it's a great way to just make sure you understand what you're talking about. So if you drop a quote and then you explain it, that shows the professor that you know what it means. And again, that's usually an extra 1 to 2 sentences. Um, Put in, I don't know, 4 or 5 quotes into a paper, and that's 10 sentences right there, which is a solid half to 3/4 page. Again, great way. So explain everything. Pretend like your reader does not know what you are talking about. That is number one. Number two is to provide just more examples or quotes. So a lot of people will, I don't know, write a paper and then they'll have their typical, one quote, explain it, one quote, explain it, one quote, explain it, and then that's their body paragraph. Um, Add another one. You are not limited to 3. I know in high school they kind of limited you, air quote, to 3. But this is college. Feel free to add more. It's again a great way to add space, and professors won't dock you for finding more evidence or finding more quotes. They'll honestly love it because it shows that you did more in-depth reading, more in-depth research, and it just shows that you worked hard on the assignment rather than doing, the bare minimum, which is usually three-ish quotes. So to just provide more evidence and examples, or research, or whatever, or quotes. Um, the third way you can expand your ideas is to write counter arguments. So this is one of my favorite ways to do it. Everything that you write, you are going to be able to counter argument. The whole point of a paper usually, unless it's like a special paper, but typically you'll be writing a paper that you are trying to prove a thesis, which is your argument. Um, Add a couple pages about a counter argument. So after writing or implementing a quote about why this supports your argument, use a transition phrase like we learned. Maybe say something such as, while this is true, some people may argue, blah, 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 and then you can just go into the whole other side of the argument, and it's a great way to just add another page. Counter arguments are super good. They show the professor that you've looked at both sides of the argument, but you have weighed them and come out to your conclusion. It just shows that you haven't just, thought one thing and been like, oh, I'm gonna roll with that. It shows that you've thought, multiple things and you've kind of contemplated it and then been like, okay, this is the best reason or this is the best argument, and this is why my opinion is the correct one and why you should listen to me. So yes, provide counter arguments. Um, the way you structure a counter argument is basically the exact same thing as you structure an argument, except for you just say why it's wrong instead of why it's right. So you implement, I don't know, a quote or evidence that some people may use to try to counter your point, and then you just use your evidence slash quotes to prove why your argument is better and theirs is worse. The fourth way we can do it, which I think is something that is easy, but people just don't think of it because they weren't taught it in high school. It's just adding a whole new category. So in high school, they drilled that into you, the whole intro paragraph, three body paragraphs with three different topics, and then your conclusion paragraph. That's your typical five paragraph essay. And you would drill, body paragraph one, body paragraph two, body paragraph three. Three different topics. If you find yourself short on page space, just straight up add another topic. And that'll, add a whole nother page to it that you can explain using, evidence, analysis, all that jazz. Um, so, let's say I had to write this is a true story. I had to write 8 pages on why the color red is important in a Shakespeare play, Macbeth. Um, it was horrible, but I actually squeaked out 9 pages of it. um, and one of the ways I did that was just adding a whole new category. So I went through the symbolism of red and what the color red means. So I had red obviously means symbolizes blood and war. Red can symbolize freedom. The blood that's spilt for freedom. Red can also mean danger. Those were my three main ones. And then I just said, implemented a fourth category. Red is about power and importance. If you think about the red carpet that's rolled out for celebrities, the color red is there because it symbolizes that someone important is about to come. So then I just added a whole new category about how red symbolized, prominence of certain characters. Um, I think, again, this is the easiest one, but not a lot of people know about it or implement it just because in high school they drilled you using one, two, three body paragraphs, right? Your three main topics. Just again, add a fourth, add a fifth, add a sixth. However many you need to fill up that word count, that page space, add it. And even if you don't need to add words to fulfill a word count, if you have a really good fourth idea, don't hesitate to add it because again, a professor will love if you are thinking deeply about what you are writing, and if you have a fourth amazing point, it just shows again you're not doing the bare minimum. That's not to say if you only do 3 points, you're doing the bare minimum. You can still write an A plus level paper, an amazing paper using 3 points. But using a fourth point is just, a great way to show that you've done thinking. Um, and then let's see what we got. The last way you can expand your paper is just provide examples. So this can just straight up be things like implementing a quote and then provide an example of what that quote means. So even if that's just summarizing it, summarize it. Let's say you are talking about your conclusion, provide an example. So maybe a real life example. Personal pronouns such as I and we and me are usually heavily frowned upon in writing, but personal anecdotes can be powerful. You can talk about an example that you had. Um, Always check with your professor if they are cool with personal anecdotes, because some are cool with it and some are not. And no professor will hate you for checking with them, because they know some people are cool with it and some are not. So uh, check with your professors before using I, me, we. But provide examples, whether they're personal examples or examples in history. If you're talking about something, you could be like, oh, in history, this happened, which is why blah, blah, blah. My opinion's correct because looking back, this is what happened. You can provide experiments. You can say, oh, in this experiment that happened, this happened. Again, providing good evidence on why your opinion is correct. And, providing an extra few sentences, which is always nice. Um, so those are the 5 ways you can expand your paper, explaining everything, providing more evidence, quotes, analysis, research, all that, writing counter arguments, adding a whole new category, and then providing examples. Um, Again, don't think you only do these when you need word space or page count. These Definitely, if you have good thoughts, write them down. It never hurts to go over a page limit. Most professors won't care. I had a professor whose page limit was 20. Um, Again, most professors won't care if you go 2, 3 pages over. It just shows that you're doing more thinking and you put more thought into it. Um, again, most professors cap out at 20-ish pages. But I don't think you'll be writing that much, unless you're adding, I don't know, 10 whole new categories. But yeah, again, this is my last one. I hope you found it really useful. I will say, as much as I love grammar and I love technicalities of writing, I think something that for a lot of students is more important than that is writing a well thought out essay that makes sense and isn't just word vomit. Because you can punctuate and grammar everything perfectly, but if it doesn't sound good and it all just sounds like you put it together at the last minute and are repeating yourself over and over and over and over again just to fulfill a word count, it's no good. So again, feel free to use these whenever, not just when you're struggling with word count. And again, your paper will be awesome. Uh, my daily writing practice isn't going to be that difficult. Y'all should get A's on it. Y'all have been getting A's on almost everything, so this shouldn't be a struggle. But yeah, that was really long. Uh, I will see y'all in a week or two, either in person or on Zoom. Yep, have a great one.